Okay, I'm going to do a quick demo of how to set up an Xcode project using cmake from the class assignment materials that we give you. So here we are as an example with project 3-1. And what we have here is the GitHub repository. And first thing I'm going to do is just to download this as a zip. Okay, and actually I've done this just a second ago, and so here in my downloads folder. And so here are just the standard materials, a skeleton that we provide you. Okay, and the key thing is that there's a cmake list.txt here, which you can use to run cmake to create a makefile and compile this from the terminal. And we're actually going to use that in order to create an Xcode project. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so first we'll just change directories into here. I'm going to make an Xcode project. Okay, and the thing that we'll do is just run cmake. Now the thing is, cmake has various generators, and we can use the Xcode generator and refer to cmake list.txt in the parent directory. Let it run. And this is going to run the generator for cmake that will create an Xcode project that we can open in Xcode. And the purpose of doing this is to provide us with a visual and integrated visual compiling environment in order to do all our development. Okay, so it's done. Let's see what's happened. In the Xcode directory, we now have an Xcode project. So if we click that and open it in Xcode, here is the system. Now what we can do is actually I can go to build, and we can build this. So you can do Apple B if you like. And this will build the entire project. Now while it's doing that, I actually want to customize a couple of things. So what we'll do is I want to set this up for running. And all I've done is clicked on the project in the title bar here and gone Edit Scheme. This brings up this dialog. And there's a couple things that we want to set here. So the first thing is under info, we want to select the executable. This will be path tracer, which is not selected by default. So under debug, I want to set the executable to run to be path tracer. And the second thing is that I want to put in some arguments here. Okay, so here are the arguments that will be passed to the executable that's running on launch by Xcode. And we want to add in some the arguments that we want to the command line arguments here. And so I've added in -T8, which is just telling the program to run with 8 threads. And then I've given a path to a scene file. And in this case, the key is to be aware of where this executable is going to be launching from, the working directory. And it's going to launch from the location in the Xcode directory under a debug folder. This is where Xcode has created has compiled the executable. Okay, so it's going to run from there, and the path to our scene file is as follows. So we want to be aware of that working directory. Okay, so that's it. So that sets up the configuration so that Xcode knows how to run things when we hit debug mode. And now we can simply run it. So there we are, and here's our executable running, and we're in Xcode. And the next step is we can set up breakpoints or other things that we want. I'll show you now how to set some breakpoints. So if we just first run the program again, what we can see is that, okay, if I hit R, the R key, we're going to start rendering. And if we look in the description for the project, one of the first tasks that we have under part 1 of the project is we have to fill in a path tracer : ray trace pixel. Okay, so let's just go and figure out where that is. So if we first come to, I'd like to set a breakpoint there. If I hit Apple Shift F, I can do a search over the whole project. And here it is, ray trace pixel. And so here's a placeholder piece of code, and we're supposed to fill in this function. So let's just step into this function by setting a breakpoint here. Let's come back to the executable and start a render by hitting R. And sure enough, we've hit the breakpoint, so execution line is now here. And one of the things that we can do in this debugger, of course, is we can check the value of some samples. So this num samples is 1 here. We're not using anti-aliasing yet. And this origin variable, we can check its values. X is 0, Y is 0 in this case. Okay. So we can do some pretty basic kind of things here. All the kinds of things that you want to do from a debugger. Set breakpoints, check variables, and so on and so forth.